Zaku 2s. Welcome back to Miku's Crackhouse. This is episode 114. I'm your host, as always, Sam Kingma, and joining me is my best friend and co-host, the man who knows nothing about Gundam, and the reference I just made, Myles. Myles, happy Tuesday. We're recording a bit earlier than usual this week.
Yes, which is why I'm in the United States for once.
I know, finally. And I don't have and people can get a good look at my background now. They can see my little flower photo. They can see my blackout curtains I never use. You can see the little Dongo plush from Monster Hunter Rise some random chick gave me at a convention not too long ago. Good stuff. But Myles, what's been going on, man?
I thought I'm leaving some space for you. You said you had content this week, and I'm here's the thing, Sam. I'm always coming on here. I feel like I'm always talking about some new TV show or whatever. Like, it's rare. I think it's rare that you have content because your day is driving around. It's being a porter for the UCA. Your day is spent on your feet traveling from east to west. So you don't always have content. I manage. So this is an exciting week. This is an exciting week that you have topics.
Because I feel like some context. A few days ago, late into the night, I fell down a rabbit hole for over 2 hours of and it felt very Myles core. I felt very Myles core when I was doing this, because this content, when it hit me, I saw one of them and I was like, I need more. And Myles, this content is called Pier Runners.
Okay.
Have you ever heard? Are you familiar with this concept?
No.
Okay, so for those who are unaware, well, Myles, let me first ask you this, because you're pretty well off. Have you ever been on a cruise?
Oh yeah, no, I love cruise. Well, I've been on 2 cruises, Sam, and I guess this will tell you just how mature I am, Sam. My family, based on I guess their enthusiasm and our tax bracket, we love Disney Cruise, dude. Going on Disney Cruise, that's the shit. And Disney Cruise, here's the thing: if you are a gambler, if you're a drinker, whatever, Disney Cruise kind of not it. I'm kind of thinking as an adult who's not into just relaxing and taking it easy. I'm kind of, if I'm gonna go on a cruise, I want to have some experiences, meet some girls, do something fun. I'm not sure if I'm at the age where I'm ready to go back on a Disney cruise. When I turn 32 and work has my hair starting to gray, I'm gonna go back on the Disney cruise, Sam, and I'm just gonna hit the sauna. I'm gonna hit the spa. I'm gonna hit the fucking gym. Go to the fancy restaurant. Yeah, go to the adult swimming pool. Because to be fair, the adult swimming pool fucking rocks. There's a bar inside the pool, Sam.
Fuck yeah, that's always sick, man. That's always sick.
So that shit is awesome. But we also went on a legendary cruise. It was a Norwegian cruise line cruise. And man, I don't know what Walt is doing so different, but that cruise was fucked up. I've been on 4 or 5 Disney cruises in my life. The first time I went on a Disney cruise, I was 6 years old. The concept was fucking brand new to me, and it was some of my happiest memories of my entire life are out in the middle of the fucking Caribbean, floating on a Disney themed vessel.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, and
don't say Walt never did anything for you,
dude. Oh, dude, I'm like a Walt. I'm Walt's number one Jewish fan, dude. I'm very much of the opinion, when people are yo, Walt was racist and an anti-Semite, I'm kind of the guy who's actually, there's never been any substantive evidence to prove that he actually disliked Jews, and his relationship to songwriters, the Sherman Brothers, makes me believe that at the very least he was tolerant. I'm that guy. I'm absolutely that guy. Now, there's no defending that. He was as caricaturized of black characters as a lot of Americans. I'm not going to defend him on that, but on the anti-Semitism thing, that's never been proven. It's never been proven. All right, the man just grew up in fucking Missouri, okay? Everyone hated Jews in 1911 in Missouri, man. Fuck, leave the guy alone.
Exactly. And speaking of Missouri and the Midwest, that's where, I technically grew up in Illinois, but I spent a few years in Missouri.
He was born in Illinois, fun fact.
Yeah. Oh, sick. Okay. Yeah, Walt and I got a lot in common, I guess.
Yeah, you hate Jews.
You know me, I'm an awesome, we both hate black people and Jews, and we both want to build an empire.
To be fair, yeah. Yeah,
we both want to take over Florida.
The other thing that I want to bring up is that Walt really wasn't much of a tycoon. Very famously, I think I linked this to you, and I'll talk about my Norwegian cruise at some point. But I linked this to you where there was another friend of mine who we just love Disney Pixar because the hatred that I sustain when I go to see Elemental in theaters June 16th. Oh my god, dude, that is going to sustain me for weeks. My stomach will be so full of hate that I cannot fucking wait to watch.
It's going to be the new
film.
arc on the show. The next several episodes will contain Elemental discussion.
I can't lose, right? I can't lose because, like, with Encanto and with Turning Red, where I was super negative on the trailers for Turning Red because they're terrible and they don't sell the movie well at all. Like, but I saw Encanto and I saw Turning Red, and both of them were very good and very fun. So, and if a movie's a fucking disaster, oh my god, I lap it the fuck up, dude, like fucking milk in a cat's bowl. I just slop it up and just savor the hate for this. And I'm in the right, by the way. It's not like what people are hating on, like everyone was hating on like Bros, that the Billy Eichner movie about like gay dude bros. Everyone was kind of hating on it because it had some kind of sus stuff about I don't know or care where people fall on the line of like, should we be teaching LGBT stuff in schools? Like it had a little bit of sus kind of subtext with that from what I've heard. It took a very Hollywood hardline stance on what we should be teaching.
I feel like you bringing up this movie is like, oh, that wasn't just a dream. Like, I didn't just see a trailer for a movie called Bros once and never saw it again and never thought about it again. It exists. It's real.
Yeah,
like Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine Bear is another one that's like a fever dream. But yeah,
80 for Brady.
If you're like, talking about Bros and how you don't like the it's like, oh, I don't think we should be teaching LGBT stuff.
Can we get back to the cruise, please?
Well, no, I'm just saying, I get to win.
We're so far off, dude.
I'm just saying that I get to win because everyone hates Disney. Everyone hates Disney, so I win when I come on and talk about how much I hate Elemental, assuming that I hate Elemental. Maybe it's gonna be good, I don't know. So that's the point that I'm making, is that I always win. But I win the most when I'm on the Disney cruise. I do not win the most when I'm on the Bros thing. The Norwegian cruise. That was not supposed to be a discussion. I was just pointing out that I couldn't think of another movie where the topic is controversial. Whereas, like, if you rag on Disney, everyone's like, yeah, bro, go off. But the Disney cruise, you can win. The Norwegian cruise, a very famous story of, I was too young. I was just too young to be on the Norwegian cruise. She was too young on that cruise. Where, I was 14, there was nothing to do but gamble. The ship was on the roughest waters. It was god awful. And then, as if it couldn't get any worse, there was a murder on board the ship. Allegedly.
Oh, only allegedly?
Because what I can say, if nothing else, is that someone fucking died by going overboard.
Oh, that's
and there was a
insane.
Murder investigation of the husband if he pushed his wife overboard. Because normally they have a way of seeing these people if they fall overboard, and the railings are super high, so you gotta try. So it could have been a suicide, a murder, or excessive drunkenness. But either way, someone died on the cruise.
Dude,
and we were
you know what this is? This is a young adult novel, is what you're talking. This is when Myles J was forced by his parents to go on a Norwegian cruise for 2.5 weeks.
We were all for this cruise until we got there, and it just got worse and worse, and it just devolved. Like, the vacation just got worse and worse. The one that was the worst was on the Disney cruise. Whatever, like, the Disney cruise is relatively expensive because
it's Disney.
Other than, like, one restaurant, you're paying for the entire experience. Everything else on the cruise is fucking free. I think the one exclusion is concessions. Concessions are not free.
Yeah, beer and stuff.
Yeah, and the gift shop is obviously not free. Okay. But, like, they'll just play movies all day at all hours. That shit's free. And you can go in and watch the fucking movies for free.
On, like, a theater screen?
Yeah,
that's cool.
Drinks are probably it's like an actual movie theater on the ship. Drinks are probably not free.
My understanding is cruises have like packages where you get X amount of drinks per day or something like that.
Yeah.
That's only my vague understanding. Again, I've never been on one of these, so I didn't know anything about. There is one
restaurant that you have to like pay for prior, but like once you're in the restaurant, everything on the menu is yours. Like,
oh yeah. That's awesome.
All the food is fucking free. It's a full fucking course meal. It's all free. Whereas this Norwegian cruise, you didn't know if it cost anything until after the meal was done.
Oh, no.
So they actually were, like, bilking you for this shit. And I specifically remember, like, it cost, like, $25 for, like, 4 rings of calamari. Like, that was, like... And there were 5 of us, right? And so, like, all of us were just sitting here, like, what? We're getting fucking dicked. There was nothing to do but gamble, so all we could do was just wander around. And like, just be on a ship for a week. And do nothing of value, because we were, like, teens, right? We couldn't get into anything.
Yeah,
and I, as far as I could tell, they didn't really have any, like, young adult programs. They probably had some kids programs for babysitting, but, like, unless you were going to gamble, which I couldn't, you couldn't do anything on this cruise. And then someone died. So it was the best possible, like, everything.
Everything that could have went wrong did go wrong.
It was the perfect example of a truly heinous vacation. So, it was great. So all I'm saying, Sam, is you're talking to a cruise expert. So whatever this content is about, Sam, I'm for it.
So basically, for those who don't know, who are like me and have never been on a cruise before, the concept of a pier runner is that during a cruise, they will make stops at like numerous locations across the globe. And particularly in 2 locations, those being Cozumel and Nassau, I'm pretty sure.
Nassau and Cozumel. Yeah, those are super common.
Those 2 places specifically are well known for a phenomenon known as pier runners, where either one individual or a small group is holding up the entire ship from leaving port and going to the next destination. And there are these videos of these people on the pier either walking, or if they're especially dicks, are running back to the ship, or walking back if they're fucking assholes, like 45 minutes after the ship was supposed to leave. And not only does, like, this delay cost the ship, like, cost the cruise liner, like, tens of thousands of dollars. It's insane, because you watch 1 or 2 people get berated and yelled at and hassled at. Everyone else on the ship is staring at them come down the long-ass Cozumel pier. Or come and run, or they're clapping. Because here's the deal. If you are late as fuck and you run, you not even run. If you jog, if you look like you are trying to get there faster than a basic walk, everyone like cheers and hees and haws, and it's like funny. But then there are these people who don't give a flying fuck and are strolling back up like an hour after the fact, and they're just getting booed to shit, and it's amazing.
Dude,
but
you know
then
what we
there are
need?
the people, Myles. Then there are the people, Myles, who don't make it, who are just too late.
Yes, and these are fun.
These are
This was actually no joke, one of my biggest fears as a child. Whenever we got to port, I'd always be like, oh, they're going to leave us behind. What if we got to get back? We got to get back. They're going to leave us behind.
And so it was so incredible. There's this one video particularly that I love because it's these two women in I forgot what port, but there's the footage of them from the ship and they're like coming around the corner. And as they're coming around the corner of the dock, they see that the ship has already departed without them. One of them goes running, like flying, like they're taking their sweet ass time, but they turn the corner. One of them comes running towards the ship in complete denial, trying to like wave at it. And then there's the other woman who just like turns around and puts her head down and just looks in defeat. Because here's what happens basically. If the crew and the captain think that you are not going to make it back, they will go into your room. They will try to find your passport, like money and like any bullshit that like you would need to like get back to the States or like the next destination where the next stop. They hand it to I think it's called like the dock master or something, basically the port leader. And then they hand you a yellow envelope with like all your stuff in it, and hopefully it has your passport in it, according to a like cruise liner. I work at a cruise liner YouTuber type guy, who I started watching after this. There's another great video, Myles, of this fucking like Karen ass looking like 45-year-old white woman who is like strolling back up, and she sees that the cruise liner's leaving, and then she like gets down on her knees and starts like praying. She's like, my kids are out there, my kids. And because she was just nowhere to be found, and then the husband's like, well, I gotta fucking find her. And he was just too late bringing her back, so they both got fucking left. And their kids were stuck on the cruise liner. But apparently, I read comments and stuff and looked into that story. Apparently, their uncle and stuff was also on the cruise liner, too. So they had an adult with them. So, like, you know, it was okay. It wasn't totally horrible. But that shit was funny as fuck.
Well, I was going to say, you know what we need, Sam?
What do we need?
Pier Narcs. Like, we're talking about, like, the cart narcs?
Cart narcs, yeah.
Yeah.
Pier narcs.
We need someone who, like, stands on the outside of the piers, and when he sees people walking, just comes up to them with a body
What do you
cam.
do? Like, with a megaphone. He, like, walks with them with the megaphone, like, go faster!
Yeah, he's got board shorts and a police, like, but so here's the thing, he's got a police top and then board shorts and sunglasses, and he's walking, he's like, what, Hey, what do you think? This is a red carpet? Hey, can you get a move on? Get a move on. Like, and he'll just like come up to them as close as he can. Like, and the objective is he's got to stay behind them at all times so that they don't want, like, the only place that they can run is forward, away from him, right? And so he'll just start like coming at them and start calling them lazy bones, like the cart narcs, and just be like, hey, the entirety of Cosmo. Hey, look over here. We got someone with lazy bonesitis. Bad case of lazy bonesitis. Like, it's the entire deck of people watching the crew leaves to start like chanting, like, you know, lazy bones. Like, getting an entire like hundreds of people to harass this like Karen ass person.
Exactly, and it's like so great. Like, especially the ones that like people are filming where they're like heckling them and like calling them like names. It was awesome. And like, because that's the thing is like when you're on a cruise for like a week or 2 weeks or whatever with the group of like 1,000 or 1,500 people, like that's like those are your neighbors, bro. Like you're spending all your time with like this small group of people, basically.
You make friends. You genuinely make friends on a cruise. Yeah,
but you can also make fucking enemies.
Exactly, and you can become a pariah. You can become a pariah.
Speaking of pariahs, there is another amazing story of not the actual footage of pier runners themselves, but the announcement that 2 passengers will be late. The kicker is that on this cruise, this is their 3rd time being unaccounted for and holding up the ship and holding everyone up for like 45 plus minutes at a time. There's this smartphone vertical video clip of just in the middle of like a hallway on the where all the cabins, small little cabins are.
Yeah, that very liminal space, by the way, at night, that is the most liminal space.
Yeah, a very, very liminal space at like 6:45 p.m. The captain comes on the intercom, and it's this British guy. And Myles, when I say that this man sounds so defeated and so like upset he's like, he's like, hey passengers, we unfortunately we have a couple of late passengers arriving back to the ship that's gonna keep us here a bit longer. Unfortunately, it is like X and Y couple. Yes, I know it is unbelievable that I have to announce this. This is the third time that this happened. You hear audible screams in the background at the announcement that these people are late for a third time, dude. Like, it's like you entered an insane asylum all of a sudden. Like, people just start banging on shit and wailing that these couples are late. And then the captain says, he's like, yeah, when they come back, they're getting locked in their cabin the rest of the cruise until we're done. They're going to be unable to leave their cabin go for the rest of the cruise. Which is just amazing.
Literal house arrest.
But yeah, dude, I just think there's like, because cruises are like, in the grand scheme of vacations, like if we were making like a vacation tier list, like cruise is so fucking expensive. Just such an expensive thing to do. And I just think it is so funny watching the people who are the pier runners who are just too late and then being handed their shit by a portmaster and being told, your vacation is over. Go buy your $1,000, $1,500 plane ticket from fucking Cozumel back to the United States. It's amazing.
Just love the cruise. Like there is a culture around the cruise, and it's a culture of like, I mean, it is a culture that is expensive enough to have critics. Like, there are people who, like, criticize, like, the skeevy aspects of the cruise line, like, all the crimes that occur on cruises. There's probably an entire true crime thing dedicated to, like, maritime, crimes.
Oh, fuck yeah. I was watching videos about people getting banned off of cruises and, like, what they would do. Like, people jumping off the ship or people, like...
They have a brig. They have a legitimate brig, and you can go to jail on a cruise, Sam. You can go to jail, not prison, unfortunately, but jail.
Yeah, you can be locked up. The captain has full reign of everything that happens on the ship that they're captaining.
They are a literal sovereign on a mobile state, on a mobile city. Like,
it's one of those things where it's like it's such a small situation, but he has so much power. Like, complete authoritarian rule over this vessel that it's just interesting and very fascinating.
Yeah, there's also
there was a guy who he was drunk and dropped the anchor of the ship when it was going 18 miles an hour. Or, I'm sorry, 18 knots, 18 nautical knots.
Which by the way is relatively fast.
Fucking fast.
Yeah. It's like 18 knots, you don't really think about as being fast, and it certainly doesn't feel fast when you're on the ship. But a dead stop at 18 knots on a vessel that big would throw everyone.
It was, yeah. So that guy was banned and arrested, I'm pretty sure, for that.
I'm sure they might have even had police, like, depending on how close they were to the U.S., they might have even had like maritime police come out and get him off the ship. If not, he was in holding. He was in an actual, literal, legitimate, real brig in the year 2020, whatever. 2010, whatever. Right?
Oh, yeah. Also, I wanted to say, by the way, I totally remembered another fucking great clip of pier runners. People who missed the boat, but they caught a dinghy and are climbing up the side of the cruise liner from the dinghy as it's moving. I'm like, bro, this is some fucking Uncharted Nathan
I was about
Drake
to say,
shit.
That is an actual Uncharted level in Uncharted 5 if Naughty Dog were to make anything that wasn't Last of Us ever again.
Oh, Naughty Dog's not making Uncharted 5.
Naughty Dog's not
probably going to happen, but it's not going to be
It's not going to be by Naughty Dog. They're going to ship it to a subsidiary. It's going to go to Bend.
It's going to go to Nutty Doug.
I was about to say they're gonna ship it to Ben. They're like, hey, you guys made Days Gone. That's basically our game, but worse.
You guys made The Last of Us Part 1 remake before we said, nah, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, like so that Ben is probably going to be Naughty Dog 2 at this point, and they have
they made Golden Abyss, so
yeah, they have the credentials for it, like totally. But like at this point, like with Days Gone, especially like not doing very well, I wouldn't be surprised, but yeah, I mean, I have been thinking I would love to go on a cruise again, but it's hard, especially at our age, like to justify going on a cruise.
There's just so much, like
there's so much, and you're not sure until you get onto the ship what you're gonna like, what there is to do. With Disney Cruise, I know what I'm getting into. I think the big problem with the Disney Cruise at my current age is like, unless you bring condoms, the only thing that you can do is like book your appointments for gyms and spas and work out and swim and go to the buffet. And the buffet, by the way, like I have, no joke, legitimate fucking FOMO about the next time I go on a cruise and not eating at the buffet enough, because the last time I was on a cruise, I didn't go to the buffet as many times as I wanted. And Sam, I was like actually fucking miffed when it was 5 out of like the 7 or 8 days in, and I did not have enough buffet time. I have such vivid memories of the first Disney cruise, like being
what's some of the best stuff to eat at the buffet of the Disney cruise?
Well, that's the thing, it's different every single week. It's or every single day. It's different every single day. And so like, but they have a couple things. They have like guys who carve up meat, and there's a different meat. So it's like, sometimes it's like just a big pork roast, which I didn't get into at that age. I would now, because I don't give a shit. So I don't believe in hell, in Jewish hell, but
Gel.
Yeah, in jail. Because here's the thing. Jewish hell is called Sheol. Sheol.
Oh, okay.
So, Jewish hell would be jail. So, you go to jail when you fucking die in Judaism. But, yeah, so, like, they have, like, just guys, like, and dude, they're always fucking Barbadian. They're always, like classic, like, thick accent, lively faces, just happy to see you, jolly ass people from like the Caribbean. And the thing is, a lot of them find great gainful employment, like, you know, on these cruise lines, especially because a lot of them make their homes in these in these countries, and now they work on these cruises, so they can, you know, visit their hometown or visit the family, like when they're docked, if assuming that they get some time to leave, or just, you know, like you can apply from that, you know, and they're valuable because you can ask them, well, what is there to do in, you know, in where you grew up, and they'll totally tell you. So you have a lot of these, and like the Disney cruise is staffed by, dude, if there is proof that a utopian, multiracial, like actual Star Trek world is possible, it is the staff of the Disney cruise line, because they'll just be guys from
the Starship Enterprise
is a Disney cruise.
Is the Disney cruise line.
Yeah, like there'll be people from fucking France, and they have their names on the fucking name tags. Like Disney always does this, where they tell you where they're from on the name tag. But like you'll see people from fucking
like
Japan,
the fighting game community.
France. Yeah, no, it actually has their fucking like country tag, dude. On the name tag, it says their name, their country, and who they main in Street Fighter 6. Like that's what it says on the name tag. So it'll be like, oh, you're an Armika player from Russia. Tell me about that. Like, you know, and your waiter for your table is just like your waiter for the entire week. So you build up a rapport with this fucking server.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, and
that is awesome.
He's just this friendly face that you see the entire fucking week. And
as someone you can trust. You can trust the entire time on the ship. You know, I can always turn to Steven.
You can just ask him anything at any time. If you're going into the port, he'll tell you in his thick ass accent. He's like, yes, there are many fun things to do in Cozumel. Like, you know, and he'll just start like rattling off. Like he'll tell you like what's the best menus. Like if you ask him about his job or his family or whatever, he will just tell you. So you just have a conversation with your server for a couple minutes if you want. Like if you're that kind of person, and you move between restaurant to restaurant, right? And so each day you go to a different restaurant. There's like 4 different restaurants.
Each day feels like a week.
Dude, oh, it's so nice. Dude, time moves slow in the best possible way.
Do we need to go on a Disney cruise?
I would actually love to take you on a Disney cruise. All right, Crackhouse, we're going to crowdfund a Disney cruise, and we're just going to turn it into content. We're just going to make our podcast from the Disney cruise. But, dude, like, every fucking restaurant is differently themed. The menu is different. And then there are fucking events. Sam, no joke, there is an actual literal stage show on, I think, the 4th or 5th night. Because the 4th or 5th night is Pirate Night. And Sam, there is a stage show in which Mickey Mouse fights Captain Hook.
Oh,
and he
sick.
Rappels from the top of the smokestack to save the day to the song I Need a Hero. And then the only cruise line licensed to shoot off fireworks in the middle of the ocean is the Disney cruise. And so Mickey Mouse summons fireworks in the middle of the ocean while rappelling from a smokestack set to I Need a Hero. And it is the most amazing thing you will ever fucking see.
Did you feel the power of theater when you saw this?
And it is a fucking 3-hour dance party hosted by Captain Hook. And it's not embarrassing like the Star Wars shows because Chewbacca and Darth Vader should never do the stanky leg. But Captain Hook can get away with it.
Captain Hook, yeah, the Disney proper, like like I'd say all the 2D
canon,
animated
the classic
stuff,
animated canon.
They can get away with a lot of shit. I just feel like we're like, yeah, it's because Star Wars is so in its own world. It's just like weird to see like Darth Vader with like a phone, you know, like or like do the stanky leg as you said.
Yeah, well, so there's a very famous video that like, and I'm just gonna tell you a big park tip because I actually did work at a theme park, and I won't say
Universal,
one.
Right?
Fuck you! Yeah, I worked at Universal.
Why do you want me to bleep that? You want me to bleep that?
No, it's fine. It's fine. I wanted people to think I worked at Disney. No, because Disney's really hard to get hired.
No, you worked at Action Park.
I worked at Action Park. My job was to clean up the severed heads.
Yeah,
when kids got beheaded by a water slide, that was my job. Was to come in and clean. I was like the No More Heroes cleaning crew with like my foam gun.
Yeah, like fucking Power Wash Simulator.
Yeah,
cleaning all the blood off,
just spraying everywhere. Yeah, like there's a very famous video at Disney, and what I was about to say is I can tell you from backstage experience as working with the costume characters, they're all black. All of them are black. Like there's a difference between the people who take photos and the people who do like events like dancing or whatever. The dancers are without fail all black. And
interesting.
So there's a video of Mr. and Mrs. Incredible at I'm pretty sure it's at, Hollywood Studios, the park Hollywood Studios, doing the stanky leg perfectly. And I just like everyone was like, "Damn, those guys are ghetto as fuck." I'm like, "Of course they are. Everyone's black in these costumes." Like when you see that video, you believe me. Now, I have some hot intel, Sam. I have some hot intel.
Hot intel?
Yes.
Oh, man, dude.
You remember the dabbing Squidward?
Yes.
I knew that guy.
How could I forget dabbing Squidward?
I knew that guy. And I want you to guess right now. White or black?
Black.
White.
Damn.
Yeah, I know.
Interesting.
So, fucking legendary. So yeah. Dabbing Squidward, not black. But Stanky Leg, Mr. and Mrs. Incredible.
Mrs. Incredible.
Black. Like, Rye Star black.
What a strange thing to say.
Well,
Rye Star black. Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Dude, Rye Star is black. You said that. Like
he is black.
It's like, dude, like all the costume characters, especially the dancers, like when you see like a Chewbacca dancing or whatever, like it is like Knuckles, where he's not black. But you know the man's black, like really.
Dude, I don't think Chewbacca is any race.
No, the guy under the costume. I mean, the guy under the costume.
Oh, he's definitely definitely that.
Yeah.
Definitely that. I'm
not Chewbacca the character. Not Chewbacca.
Yeah, like Knuckles the character. People will claim is like. I don't know what's the word for this, black coated? Is that the proper terminology?
Yeah, like black coated is probably the best term we got. Like, but I think
like
we
Vegeta,
talked about
like we've talked about this before, like characters.
The spiral mask guy from Naruto. Like,
I think I want to say his name's Toby. I think.
He's and Garu. What's his name?
Oh yeah, Sandman.
No, not Garu. Orochimaru. This guy, the mask.
Kakashi,
yeah, he's black. He's
sorry,
so black.
you gotta get him cover up one eye for sure. You know.
That man's black.
Watch that being a super offensive hand gesture.
Yeah,
in like
the ADL is gonna get on our
country.
The ADL is gonna get on our case for that one. But no, this is offensive to French Canadian animators because it's an offensive gesture about Code Lyoko.
Four heads up.
Yeah, dude, you actually have the odd widow peak from Code
I do.
Lyoko,
Oh yeah.
Dude, that's so sick. That is actually so sick.
Yeah.
Well, we know who you would be in Lyoko.
Oh, cool. Oh, cool. Great. I get to be the one guy who gets to run out of his weapon.
Yes. Dude,
that shit always bothered me, dude. That shit always fucking
dude, that was he said that every episode.
And then Jeremy's like, hold on, let me get you some more arrows real quick. Give me 5 minutes. I gotta code some in.
Yeah, no, he would always swivel to another computer. Hold on. Coding you arrows now. And it's like, oh shit, I did something on that. Oh fuck. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. What did I do? Did I ruin everything? All right,
no, we're still going.
Okay, yeah,
I
guess I put a drop down menu on the thing. I want to pivot, Sam. I want to pivot real quick. If
please,
that's cool.
Yeah. What's up?
So that we don't fucking talk about Code Lyoko again. I started a new TV show because I'm always doing that nowadays, I guess.
I'm always excited when you're watching something new, dude. Because I know you're gonna have some.
It's never new. It's always old, right? I'm always like,
yeah. Well, that's why I'm excited because it's gonna be some old popular shit that either I don't know anything about and want to get your opinion on, or it's something I do know and like Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. So I wonder what it is this week.
Veronica Mars.
Ooh. Oh. So like, she's like a detective, right?
She's by the way, I didn't know anything about this show. I thought she was like a superhero or something. Like it was like a Smallville ripoff. I didn't know anything about it. All I knew was the name. But I was like, okay, she's an exceptional character and her name is weird, so I'm guessing that she's a superhero. Like, you know, I was thinking like Atomic Betty or something like that. Like if we're talking the kids cartoon comparison, I thought it would be like Atomic Betty or Danny Phantom. No, Sam. This is Fillmore. Where it's just like the seedy criminal underbelly of school. And it is so fucking sick because she just does like these private investigation things with her school, and her school is full of like millionaires, like actual literal millionaires. Because it's in like a really like lucrative, expensive town, right? Like a sort of like a Silicon Valley-esque like tech software town. A lot of actors live there, and a lot of like, you know, entrepreneur, you know, whatever, trust fund kids live there. And so like the stakes of a lot of these crimes are actually like, dude, thousands of dollars are being scammed out of these students, or like corporate espionage shit is going down at the school, right? But
that's kind of
I actually if you want to be washed over, Sam, by 2000s nostalgia, if you want to see characters
my language.
In Uggs with like the classic like shark tooth necklaces.
Oh yes,
this is
the fucking
good, like classic, delicious 2000s beach era culture. Where
it's like you're speaking my language, man. What does it take place in like
that sort of
like
thing?
California?
Yeah, it's in Neptune, California. And so like there's dudes with like their Hummers at the beach, and
I gotta ask a horrible question: is Neptune a real place, or is that a fake town?
Probably not. I assume it's called Neptune because Veronica Mars, you know. Planet names,
space.
Yeah.
The only thing I really know about Veronica Mars is that wasn't there like a kickstarted movie, and it's like kind of prominent for being one of the first like films to do that.
Maybe. I mean, I'll probably have to watch it. I really like the show so far. It's not like the best shows I've ever seen. It's got that like cool 24 energy where you're like, dude, shows aren't like this now. Like the age of I want to talk a bit about the age of prestige TV. Mogar, friend of the show, linked a great article that like and in particular I linked you a picture today that like is so delicious to me. But like dude, TV shows are better, like quality-wise, but diversity-wise, it's so much worse because it's all shit no one wants to watch. It's all like shit made for the Emmys and for like Hollywood people themselves. Like it's basically all like incestuous stuff that Hollywood likes, that Hollywood wants to see. Like specifically the writers in Hollywood and the producers and directors and actors. Like these are the things that they all want to do, all these projects. But it's nothing that anyone actually wants to fucking watch. Like for as much as we dunk on Marvel and Disney and all that, like if nothing else, they're making shit that people actually want to see. Like, it's like movie studios are making crap no one wants because it's got an IP. Like if nothing else, Disney is at least able to crank out like a reliable children's film with a good message every year. But Veronica Mars is just classic hour dramedy good shit with horrible camera work and fucking color filters up the ass. Like anytime there's a memory, that shit is so blue. That shit is the bluest blue. Jackie Brown
since
blue.
Jackie Brown. It's Jackie Brown.
Yeah, Jackie Brown blue memories, dude. And like when it's evening, oh my god, the screen is so orange. So orange.
Dude, I love that aesthetic though. I love just orange ass footage.
I would actually recommend like whenever you're just like chilling, like here's the thing, if you're playing a game, instead of putting on a podcast, put on a little Veronica Mars in the background.
Where can I watch Veronica Mars?
It's on Hulu, unfortunately.
Hulu? Oh, great.
I
think Hulu. Yeah, dude. I think Hulu is I gotta be honest. I think Hulu is probably the best of 100%. all the services. And then honestly, probably below that might be Paramount Plus for me.
That's
I don't own Paramount Plus, but it's got like fucking Bar Rescue. It's got fucking Ink Master. It's got a lot of Nick shit. It's got a lot of.
It's got shit that we actually
Drake
care
and Josh
about.
And stuff.
Yeah,
stuff I fucking care about. Where like Netflix has Black Mirror season 6, which is what you sent me today.
Yeah, dude, seeing the announcement of Black Mirror season 6. Was like,
which for the record was like 2 weeks ago. By the way, just in case people are like, why are they talking about this now?
Yeah. It just only came into my life recently, which is how this show fucking works.
Proof that nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah. Well, I was also just about to say, because it has 3.4 million views on the trailer, so like people who are like getting this are clearly watching it to see what's up. But like proof that we don't give a fuck is that I'm talking about Veronica Mars. I guess I'll finish up on my Veronica Mars topic because this is a particularly funny thing for us. Show's good. I recommend it. Still in season 1. Kristen Bell's great. Everyone's great on the show. But the thing is, they had like one classic writers don't understand gamers episode of this show. Like just delicious CSI.
It's like
it's not
SVU
nearly that
episode?
bad, but it's it's the slight. Here's the thing. So what's bad about the SVU one is that it's still stuck in 2004 gamer culture of like, oh, they all play Halo and they all say ponage. This show actually is in 2004 gamer culture where they actually do say ownage and they all play Halo 4.
Halo 2.
Yeah, sorry, Halo 2. But like, it's very funny because she gets scammed, or not Veronica,
the gamer?
No, what do you call the person who brings them the problem, right? Like the narc, whatever you'd call them. She says, I got scammed out of some money, and I need you to investigate this. And it turns out that it's these two gamers.
The client?
Yeah, the client. It's these two like gamers who are game devs. They're developing like a new kind of like sort of like an Unreal Engine like kind of like FPS game they're trying to make, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, like a Quake 3
she actually references
basically?
Quake in the episode. She says they're making a game that'll make Quake look like asteroids. And I'm like, okay, all right. I know what that means. That makes sense to me. Sure.
Yeah.
They're making a very advanced game.
I mean, Asteroids is good too. So
Yeah, but I think she's talking in terms of advanced.
But I understand what they're saying. It's going to make it look like 2 decades in the past.
like it would be like if they developed Overwatch that week, you know, like
in 2004.
Yeah, it would be like if they developed Overwatch or even TF2 in 2004. So, which I guess is plausible, but yeah, so their way of funding the game, because Kickstarter didn't exist, was scamming people out of their money by hiring actors to like pretend that they're like trust fund kids and claiming it's part of a prank show. It's the most bizarre scam, like just a super television show scam. But she goes to like a LAN party at like a bar, like a gamer's bar, right? And Sam, I had the biggest conundrum, like an actual conniption fit when she goes there because like they're playing Halo 2 and they're saying like, yeah, I just fragged you, bro. Like shit that like
that's
accurate.
That's accurate. Yeah.
But the conniption fit was like, so I'm kind of like, okay, this is kind of how it was, but the bar that they're in has like these paintings, right, of video game characters. And I was going insane because I couldn't tell if this shit was set dressed by a real gamer or if this was an on location. And it's probably the latter, because I see for a fucking second like a mural and I'm like, is that fucking Guts? Like Guts is on the wall, and he's not a game character, but to lend some credence to that, Astro Boy is also on the wall. And then...
Oh, fuck yeah. Dude, that happened to me when I was in Chicago, like a couple months ago. I walked by a place and I saw a mural with a bunch of anime characters on it, and I was like, is that Astro Boy? Yeah, it is! That's awesome.
I had a moment, though, where late in the episode, because she goes back to the bar, right? This gamer bar. Late in the episode, she is standing in front of a mural of Mega Man, but it's not Mega Man. It's not Mega Man EXE. It's Mega Man EXE. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. I meant to say it's not Mega Man X. It's fucking Mega Man EXE, which tells you what year this came out in, by the way, because he was the Mega Man of that era.
And it was just a poster?
Yeah, it was just his face, but it was like clearly painted. Like, so which is my guess is that this is a real location, because like they just hired out the location because they already had all this gamer shit, all these paintings. But like Astro Boy was on the wall. Fucking the fact that it was Megaman.exe was the moment where I was like, where I was like, this is nutty. This is fucking naughty.
Crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy. So, that's actually so cool and way better than fucking Law and Order.
Oh yeah. Like the fact that like if nothing else, the set designer was a gamer, but there was just the slightest bit of gaming knowledge in that episode, and so you know what? Fine by me. There's a couple of like
to Veronica Mars.
There's a couple of episodes that I'm like, that must have been controversial. They have an episode where she's investigating a cult, and it turns out that the cult is just a hippie commune, and the parents of the kid who like joined this cult, which is just a commune, like are playing it up as a cult because he was willed his grandmother's money, and so they want the money for themselves, but if he runs off to this commune, that money's not going to go anywhere. He's just not going to use it. And so like they actually like negatively depict the idea of like deprogramming and kidnapping kids who are in cults, which is relatively controversial because cults are bad. But like this episode is like pro cult. It's not pro cult, it's pro commune. Like it's like pro communal living or pro ranch style living. But it's still framed as like, yeah, sometimes these things that you think are cults might actually be good. And I was like, whoa, you would not see that nowadays, where everyone has the same fucking politics on TV.
Yeah.
You would not see that episode.
No.
And
God,
I love all the 2000s. Like, everyone says spaz. People just say spaz.
Oh, wow, man, I miss spaz, dude.
Yeah, like the moment where I realized that
I never feel like spaz fell out of style because it was seen as offensive.
I will say no, it was though, and the moment that I realized that I was out of touch was I watched, for some reason, like My Life as a Teenage Robot like compilation that was clearly like just clips of like TikTok, people who were uploading their favorite My Life scenes. And there was just in big bold letters censoring the next line because it includes a word that no one should ever say. And it's when, and I remember the episode vividly, she calls Kilroy a spaz. And they censor the word spaz, and like just in these big bold letters, they're like, please don't get offended. Please don't get hurt by the following words. And I was like, I guess I'm out of touch. Where like, I mean, I understand that the word is
man. What is going on with these kids today, man, dude? What's going on? It's
just the sheer like fervent, like, please don't be hurt by this line, like that they had to protect us. Like, who will think of the children? I saw a video called Offensive Memes. Like, it was just like a compilation of offensive memes, and I've never left a video more angry in my life. There wasn't a single fucking offensive meme.
Single fucking offensive meme. Like, these kids these kids weren't around in our era, Myles. We just got to understand that they're too young. They didn't know. They weren't here for this shit.
She's too young, man.
She's too young for Newgrounds.
But I think the problem is that it's not even, there's not even an attempt at offensiveness, like, and it doesn't even have to be like racist or anything. I think it could just be like dark. It could just be dark humor, like offensive. A lot of modern offensive memes are about like topical news or like murders, things like that. Like
there's a whole wide world of offensiveness you can do. You don't just have to stick to politics.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be racism. It could be, current affairs, recent like crime epidemics, that like just generic crime like kidnapping, theft, shoplifting. Like, you can have some offensive memes that are devoid of color, so to speak. Colorblind offensive memes, which is the name of the episode. But I was just thinking about what we were talking about earlier with like Netflix, where like Netflix has all these shows that are so stupid, and it's because you like all the edginess is it's like the same 5 edgy schools of edge, right? Where it's like, okay, sexual abuse, because it's relevant to Hollywood, so of course it's about Hollywood. Blatant on the nose racism and blatant on the nose sexism. Those are like the major like edgy humor like sources, right? Or edgy like content sources. Okay. And like any like offensive joke is always at the expense of modern US government, right? Or some sort of corrupt, governmental whatever, right? And it's just like, if you want to see the exact same opinion 40 times, just go on Netflix and just see what people are watching right now. If you want to hear the same voice talk at you with the same exact sense of humor, feel free to watch any TV show and just wait for them to make like a relevant joke.
Yeah, I remember. It's so funny. There's a 7-year time skip in Riverdale. And the time skip occurs around the time. Yeah, just like Ocarina of Time, actually.
Yeah, which is so
just
great.
Like nice whistling, by the way. You really fucking nailed the ocarina there. You really hit those notes. But there's a fucking 7-year time skip in the show, and basically the show when it started was kind of like in the season 1 was like 2016, 2017, season 2 2017, 2018 or whatever. When they get to season like 5 and we time skipped, 7 years passed, like the fucking first line back from the time skip was like no, it was not from the time skip, but it was like the first line back from COVID coming back, and fucking Alice Cooper makes a fucking social distancing joke or reference, and I'm like, bitch, COVID ended 4 years ago for you fuckers. It's like 2026 right now. Did you guys forget? Did you guys fucking forget that you guys jumped fucking 7 years?
That's amazing. I just love that there is an entire era of media that was fucking ruined, just utterly decimated by the pandemic. Just
it's kind of like writer's strike media from like 7-8, right? 2007, 2008.
I can't wait for more, by the way.
Yeah. I'm excited to see like what part 2 of that looks like.
They're gonna lose this time, is my guess, actually. Because the difference is that like all these streaming services have content stockpiled. Like they can last longer than I think a lot of the writers can stay in Hollywood and pay their bills.
You know what the streaming services are doing now, and part of the reason, because here's the deal, I want to talk real quick about why I think Netflix is kind of losing ground, and like people are like losing interest in Netflix, and they're losing users, and I'm gonna unsubscribe from it next month. Not a lot of the original content is like particularly good. When they do stuff, it's like, oh, here's season 6 of Black Mirror. Like, I liked Black Mirror when I was in college. I could give two fucks about it now. Or like, here's Stranger Things season 5, it's like the same fucking shit. Or like beforehand, it felt like every like couple months they had like a new original show that was like cool and unique.
Yeah,
and
there was just a hot period where you just got this really good television, like you just got a really good new show every season. Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, like Netflix original meant quality for like a while.
Yeah, and like even the controversial ones were exciting projects like Arrested Development season 4, where like that was like a Hollywood pipe dream. And it kind of brought back this idea of like, oh, all the shows that people didn't give a chance, like Firefly. You can get Firefly back on the air, Yeah,
exactly. Like reinvigorated a lot of people's like interested hopes in like old series, and to introduce people to old series and stuff too, and like all that stuff's good. But like nowadays, what a lot of the major streaming services are doing is they're fucking taking these movies that are coming to theaters, and like a month or month and a half after they come out, or not even, it's like, yeah, home release. Like Fast X was making its money at the box office. Like it did really well overseas. 3 weeks afterwards, it's on home streaming and like video on demand. So like theaters are just becoming like you're really only gonna want to go to the theater if a movie's actually worth seeing at the movie.
Yeah, which like a Spider-Man, Spider-Verse, like something that people are really interested in seeing, like. Because that's the thing. I think superhero movies, the reason that...
Like Oppenheimer.
Yeah, Oppenheimer is an interesting one, because obviously Nolan and his sound and his picture quality is so good. Avatar, Way of the Water. Like, at this point, like, movies have to kind of justify being on the screen. And this is why comedies died. Like, comedies died at the theater, because it was easy to just get a good comedy movie, or, like, just a good comedy experience from a half-hour sitcom, as a lot of these shows started getting shooting quality on par with comedy shows, and especially getting rid of the laugh track. Like, I'm sorry, Arrested Development is just a good comedy movie, like production wise, like very, very quick, very speedy, and consistent quality. And by the way, great budget. It was $3 million an episode in 2003 money.
I know. God, I've watched Arrested Development. I watched the first 2 seasons for the first time ever, like a few months ago at the start of the year. God, I fucking love that show.
It's
Myles.
hysterical.
I fucking love it so much. I actually couldn't believe... I would gut bust laugh every single episode without fucking fail, dude. I couldn't fucking believe how fucking good.
Yeah. It's amazing.
I don't know. Who's your favorite character? I can't pick between Job and Buster.
Oh, it's Job for me. I mean, like, I love Buster, but Will Arnett, his face has been ruined by divorce. Like, I can't explain this, but like when he appeared at the Summer Games Con or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah. He was looking rough.
He looked like a meth head. Like and by the way, it is funny that now making fun of like Will Arnett is like game culture. Like he probably was subjected to the very specific world of video game memes that is so different and so alien to the kinds of like jokes and jabs that he's probably used to from like Hollywood media or mainstream media, people on like generic social media clowns who will just like post like, oh, Will Arnett sounds terrible, 5 emojis or whatever, like Will Arnett voice acts like he's got a dick in his mouth, 5 emojis, like on that. Like Will Arnett probably had to suffer through people like editing him as a hollow, like putting him in like next to the crestfallen warrior, just all this shit that is just like new to him, or like Nick Cage Which I mean, I didn't have a problem with Nick Cage being in Dead by Daylight. That's a pretty fun like place for him to be.
Yeah. That's a funny announcement.
Yeah, I do like and like I actually maybe it's just because I like Death Stranding so much. I actually don't mind celebrity performances in games as long as it feels like the performer kind of understands the assignment. I think
I really like Keanu Reeves and
everyone does, and like
I really like Johnny Silverhand.
I actually think that Norman Reedus does an incredible job. I remember thinking that Norman Reedus was not a great actor in Death Stranding until I started watching other things that he was in, and I was like, oh, he's just giving the most subtle performance I've ever seen. Where, like, he is just so understated and so naturalistic. I thought that he was just sleeping through the performance.
I thought it was bad.
Yeah, well, no, he plays a disconnected, disillusioned, silent yes man who is just fucking floating through life with the level of depressed apathy that, like, is so real. And I legitimately just thought, like, oh, he's just sleeping through the game until I saw, like, how lively he was in person. And like, a lot of his other, like, his role as Daryl is very
until you
intense.
watched Ride with Norman Reedus exclusive to AMC.
Yeah, like, he's very lively and he's very, like, I genuinely just thought he showed up and he just, like, gave, like, his most generic performance and he just read his lines as he was in, as, you know, as like whatever is possible. And it's like, no, actually he's embodying a character and he does a great fucking job. But there's a big difference between that and like Kevin Spacey in like COD, where he looks so confused and he clearly like doesn't know what he's acting with.
That was like, what was that, 2013?
2014, because it was Advanced Warfare.
2014,
it was the first like next gen COD game, so it was Advanced Warfare.
That's right.
And he just was so confused. There is a performance in Death Stranding that's like that. I think Leah Seydoux isn't entirely sure what she's like acting out. I think to an extent, I don't think she understands
what character
she's
is she?
Fragile.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it wasn't super crazy in the little bit of
I don't think she fully understands the character or the direction of it. But I mean, otherwise, like, everyone does a great job in that game. And so I don't mind like celebrities being in games, to be perfectly honest. I know a lot of people do, but I think it's kind of fun. And it's also interesting to see who's like an OG. It's interesting to see like who comes the fuck out and does like, and clearly knows their video games.
That shit, that's what always bothers me about the fucking Game Awards, is because I feel like, because last year he gets fucking Al Pacino up on stage, and who literally is off his fucking meds and like doesn't know where he is. Like,
well, and the funny thing is, he's like, yeah, I'm here because my son loves games. It's like, yeah, join the fucking club. Even Nick Cage is like, yeah, my son loves video games. I gotta give some props to the NBA star, and I forget which guy he is, but he's got he's got a segment in 7 Days Out, the show, like chronicling like a week before a major event, in particular chronicling like the League of Legends like grand finals, the same week that a prolific League player's brother murdered his entire family, except for him, obviously, and so like just kind of dealing with like how he dealt with that week, and but he also has a segment, like there's a couple different, you know, esports guys, and one of them has a segment. One of them is like an actual fucking NBA basketball star who bought an esports team because his son is into esports, and he's like actually on the fucking private jets with these people who don't speak English, like playing chess with them and shit like that. Like, I gotta give that guy some props. Like, he bought,
that guy's a fucking real
he
one,
bought
man.
the team and he invested in the fucking team. They came in like third out of however many, and he was like, you know, and that's
great.
He was like, I'm just so proud of my
great.
boys. Like, I'm just happy that we placed, and I'm really, I hope my son is proud. And it's just like,
that's awesome.
That guy's an OG. Whereas like Al Pacino has no clue where he is, and he doesn't belong there.
And it's like, yeah, it's like, you know, you could have invited fucking J.B. Lynn Spears. You could have invited Henry Cavill. You could have invited people who actually like this stuff, you know?
Casper Van Dien's daughter, I think Tara Dean, she just fucking joined Team Liquid. Like, I know that Casper Van Dien's kid is not the biggest get, but she's a celebrity. She's been in films. She's still acting and working alongside her dad. Like, so, I mean, he's still like, just get her and Casper in the same room together, because people know Casper Van Dien. He's from fucking, Starship Troopers, which is like, that's a big, like, gamer movie. A lot of gamers like Starship Troopers.
I really need to watch
Starship
that.
Troopers. That's such a you movie.
I bet I would. Maybe next time I go hang out with my buddy.
Yeah,
Billy,
see if
I'll
he's up and
request it. It's not very long, right? It's like 100 minutes.
No,
probably,
I mean
100,
it's
2
from
hours.
that era of movies where everything was reasonable.
Everything was short.
Yeah, everything was a reasonable amount of time. Yeah, it's just, and the fact that Henry Cavill has not appeared at the Game Awards is one of the most insane fucking things in the world, because that man is literally out here whoring himself for the PC master race in Hollywood. Like, he fucking left a lucrative television show because he didn't respect what they were doing with the IP. Like, that man is so about video games, and everyone's like, yeah, but what about Al Pacino? It's like, oh, the Dunkachino guy who hasn't been in a movie in 9 years.
Dude, that's awesome referring to Al Pacino as the Dunkachino
Yeah,
guy.
it's because fuck.
Like that's his legacy.
Well, there's
to
pre and
the
post
Zoobers.
Scent of a Woman Al Pacino, and post Al Pacino Scent of a Woman Al Pacino is the Dunkachino Al.
That isn't Al Pacino also in Good Burger, the Good Burger movie?
So. I really hope that's true.
He plays the guy who makes the shakes.
I so hope.
I'm
that's
like pretty
true,
sure.
Dude. Yeah, like it is funny when they just get complete bullshit. Like, hearing Animal say that he simps for millennia and loves Hideo Kojima games was like the funniest fucking bizarre. Like, how do you pay for that? You know? With just a pitch perfect delivery by the guy who voices Animal. Getting Animal to say out loud that he has a crush on Millennia from Elden Ring is such a surreal, like, moment where I can't help but be amused by it. Like, Chic Hydro Man is amazing.
Oh.
Like, I like when they
yeah.
just get the kitschy bottom of the barrel shit. Like, when they attempt to be prestige in any way, that's when it's like, what are you doing, dude? What is going on?
Dude, yeah, that's my thing. I just feel like Jeff, I have, turned the corner on Jeff. I like Jeff. I think
Jeff
he
Keighley
actually
a lot.
tries. Yeah. I think he actually fucking tries, and he genuinely does make an effort to improve the shows every year. Like, I thought Game Awards 2023 was great.
Yeah.
Was fucking awesome.
He did a great job.
Great watch. Like, I just wish that I wish if he wants to do an award show, he actually, like, commits to the awards and doesn't try to, like, fucking blast through, like, important shit. Like, why are we blasting through best RPG?
Yeah, I think the problem is that,
like,
he wants it to be such a large-scale event that sponsorships and, like, trailer reveals probably pay for most of the event. And
they do. No, and exactly. And also, let's just be honest, the reason why not, like, 256 times as many people watch, probably way more than that actually, Jeff's show than, like, the BAFTAs or the DICE Awards, which are actual prestigious industry awards to have. People watch Jeff's show because he's got fucking game announcements, which I think are great. As a consumer, I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to see some new games.
I like the fact that
along with celebrating old ones.
Like, when I tune into the Game Awards,
or newish
when
ones.
I tune into the Game Awards, it's like, okay, Hideo Kojima might show up. Tears of the Kingdom DLC might show up. Like, he's really buddy-buddy with From, so if there's gonna be any From announcements, it's probably gonna be at the Game Awards. Like, there's a lot of things to look forward to at the Game Awards, and then just a bunch of IPs that would never get main stage representation elsewhere. Like, for as much as people make fun of Summer Games Con and, like, a lot of the kind of whack announcements that go on, like, you're gonna hear about more titles. Lies of P would have never gotten any main stage presentation anywhere else. Which, and by the way,
well, that's actually that's not true, because Lies of P is a day one Game Pass game, so Xbox
okay, that's
really
fair. I didn't realize that.
Because it's one of the few, like, non first party Xbox $60 like release
and
gets.
That's a really funny game to me, especially because, like, Lies of P is the most, like, anti pro Myles game of all time. Where, like, it's so my aesthetic. Like, I love
for every pro it has a con.
I love automatons. I love the French Revolution, like, aesthetic. I love all that shit. But, like, I think that Soulsborne like, most Soulsbornes are not good. Because it's such a specific. It's such a specific skill.
I think most of the well-known ones are pretty solid.
They're okay. Solid, they're pretty good.
But there are a lot of garbage bottom of the barrel.
And I'm sure Lives of P is
sure.
on that, like, okay. Because here's the thing, right? Neo, combat wise, is great. Level design wise, fucking mid.
Yeah, there's like none.
Yeah, it's fucking mid.
There's like
and
none.
that's my problem. And I think it might be an issue of like
that's all the Ninja. That's all the fucking Team Ninja
and when
games, because same thing with Stranger Paradise
and that works for me. That truly works for me because I love Stranger Paradise. I love the combat. Like, I wasn't big on Neo 1. I'd love to play Neo 2. I think I'd vibe with the shit out of that game. Like,
the action is so good in Neo that I'm like, I don't care. I'm not interested in being immersed in the world. I want to fight the fucking enemies.
Yeah, and like I'm into.
I want to fight the bosses.
I think I just wasn't a big fan of like the loot system in Neo, and a lot of the enemy design I wasn't crazy about. But like, I would love to try Neo 2.
I like the enemies. I agree. The loot's super obnoxious.
It's bad.
I appreciate what it adds to like. Yeah, at least Stranger Paradise lets you get rid of lets you discard your loot relatively quickly and you only got to do it every like 30 minutes. Yeah, or so. It's still fucking obnoxious.
And you can also optimize it, and like it's also nice to get the proficiencies. That helps too.
Yeah, here's the thing, and to Neo and Neo 2's credit, it's the same here. There's definitely benefits to the crazy loot shit. It just is like a lot. And if you're someone who is like a freak about min-maxing at every single point of the fucking journey, you're gonna fucking be stopping all the time. Where to me, I would put on a fit, I'd play for a bit and be like, oh, okay, let's see what I got. And like, I'll scroll through and I'll just update my gear and go from there. And it's because it's really not until like that post game or the sort of end game where the actual individual stats on a piece of gear beyond its general defensive score actually
and by that point you can, like, the thing about Stranger Paradise that's nice is by that point you actually can start upgrading gear that's optimal for you, and you can also start getting chaos gear. So like I assume that's a system that was figured out through making Neo and Neo 2. So I'd like to check it out. But if the combat's not great, which I don't mean to be an asshole, because I know you like Souls combat. Like, for me, I think that what's good about Souls combat is not actually the combat. I think it's the arenas, the builds, and the enemy design. I think the actual combat of Souls is relatively intentionally simple. Like,
yeah, it's not super it's not super complicated. I like the games that spice it up. There's this game I played last year,
some like real complicated shit.
Yeah, there was this game Souls-like I played last year called Thymesia, which I thought was pretty decent. It's only like 8 hours long. It's like on the shorter side. It's only like $25 too. And what I like about it is that the heavy attack and your light attack and your heavy attack do two fundamental different things. So basically, you use light attacks to basically do like wound damage to the enemy, but it'll like heal over time. And you got to cash in your hits by hitting them with like heavy attacks. So unlike Dark Souls, where like you're going to use the heavy attack maybe 10% of the time, being generous. Like, in this game actually requires you to both switch between like using.
I actually like that
system
a lot too. It reminds me of because like the idea of like cashing in hits is pretty cool. Like, and especially like stopping regen. That's classic fighting game kind of mechanic. Like,
that's Killer Instinct is what 2013 is what I think of when I think that kind of.
Yeah, I don't mean to say it's not like it's in every fighting game, but there's enough of them that, where like health regen, like stop, like keeping it up.
Yeah, like a lot of team fighters you use health regen where you can switch out and let your other character heal.
Yeah, and so like I like that sort of thing where it's like, all right, well, you got to keep on the punishment, or or they're like something that like enforces aggression. I know everyone didn't like this in Breath of the Wild. I think Tears of the Kingdom should have health regen in the master mode, because you actually have so much fucking control over how you deal with that sort of thing now. Especially with like, okay, like the way to stop it in Breath of the Wild was fire damage typically. Like, it would just kind of keep the enemy from regenning. But like, you didn't have anything besides a fire arrow or a fire weapon to really like start a fire efficiently. You have fucking 7 different ways to start a fire in Tears of the Kingdom, like from your fucking inventory. Like, so it does belong. Like, I would love health gen to return in that game in particular, but I don't know, health regen's kind of interesting. And it's funny, like, this is why I've turned around on, I'll probably like Sekiro now, is that I went from not really liking the idea of, like, a stance breaking mechanic to actually liking having to keep a meter down.
The meter, you just gotta think that, like, the posture meter is also the health
That's
bar.
What it actually is. And you have to keep it from, like from going down. So I don't really like, now that I've played enough games with like break gauges to kind of see like, okay, this actually is a really interesting and strategic way to play the game. Like,
yeah. And with Sekiro, because Stranger of Paradise, which we both are big fans of, has a breaking gauge, but you just that just only takes out like a small little chunk of the boss's health. In Sekiro, you get the posture kill, you win the encounter. Because you're able to fucking critical fucking slam them and throw them on the fuck. Oh, it's so good. It's so fucking good. I love Sekiro. I love Sekiro. I might, maybe I'll do like a replay of it before Armored Core comes out, if I have fucking time. Because Remnant 2 is going to be July, this month. That's another. Although people call that a Souls-like, it's really not.
I think it's different.
It's fucking.
I think it's fairly different.
It's Resident Evil 4 remake with the dodge roll, like basically is how I would describe it. Because it's got like sort of like you're mostly kind of standing your ground or maybe shifting a little bit here or there, and blasting fucking enemies with bullets. Oh, and also with like Dark Souls builds. I guess so. Yeah, the Souls comparison, I guess, is fair with like build crafting.
I think it's a case
of plenty
like,
games of fucking build crafting.
I think it's a case of like Souls is a good contemporary comparison. Like the best way to put it, I would say, is that Remnant probably wouldn't have been made if Souls wasn't as popular as it was. The ability to kind of pitch a Souls-like game with a focus on gunplay was probably much easier internally than it would have been. Especially the idea of combining that level of RPG with gunplay, because otherwise it's like, okay, well, I guess it's an RPG, like a Fallout 3 New Vegas style, like, all right, well, it's more of an RPG than it is a first-person shooter.
Yeah, dude, Remnant is just a beautiful fucking blend of, like, genres, because it's like a third-person shooter, but it's got build crafting RPG elements, plus it has, like, sort of, like, roguelite elements with, like, randomly generated, like, world maps that will give you, like, certain mini-dungeons and different boss fights. So like when you play through the main campaign of Remnant, it'll take you like probably like 10 to 18 hours probably. And that's only like 15% of the game, really. Like 15 or 20% of like the actual content that's in the game. And you actually get the rest of it by either re-rolling the campaign or re-rolling the individual like levels, worlds themselves.
That I actually do want to bring up, because you mentioned random generation, right? Or like procedural generation. Recently I fell down a rabbit hole because I think one of the things about the Metacritic Top 100 that fascinates me is I'm also just generally fascinated by the idea of like initial response. History has a way of kind of like remembering things or not remembering things. Like, did you know like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was a commercial disappointment when it came out? Like it didn't do well at the theater, and it's like you can't fathom that now because it's a fucking classic. It made most of its money on television. Or like, I'm always very interested in like how well history will remember initial criticism. Me too. That's what I always say when I'm like, time is the true critic of all games and pieces of media. Yeah, and so like, Tears of the Kingdom is a mild obsession for me right now with like how this initial response to it will be remembered, because it's going to be positive no matter what, but like definitely. There's a lot of really like interesting, like things that are like interesting to me. One thing I bring up is The Thing cannot escape being critically maligned when it came out, right? Critically panned, everyone hated it, it bombed, and now The Thing is a classic. But it's not a Willy Wonka situation where people are like, Willy Wonka, how could it flop? Everyone's just kind of like, yeah, Willy Wonka, what a classic. Everyone's like, how could critics have been so wrong about The Thing? Like, that has like colored the impression of criticism forever. And my particular interest is, will the Metacritic score of Tears of the Kingdom being lower than Breath of the Wild have any effect on the way we talk about Tears of the Kingdom? I personally don't think it will. I don't think people care as much as I do. And I think that the vast majority of
this, like the raw. When you say this, by the way, are we talking about sort of the actual raw numbers of the situation? Or are we talking about,
because on the whole,
or more of what it represents in an ethereal sense? Yeah,
the raw numbers of people who are like, how could critics have thought that Tears of the Kingdom is worse than Breath of the Wild? They didn't. Actually, there's just more. It's high rated on OpenCritic. First of all, I think that's an important thing to note, because it just had more positive reviews than Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild was split between two versions, and it only had 106 on the Switch version, whereas I think there's like 130 for Tears of the Kingdom, like, and so that's a larger sample size with more positive reviews. But it has only 5 mixed reviews. And then I was like, you know what? I know I rattled these off from the log lines. I'm actually going to read some of these, right? And I discovered a little like, it's not a cottage industry. I don't know how to describe it, but like a swarm of confirmation bias and confirmation anti-bias. Like, if you want a lot of traffic on your page, write a mixed review for a major release. Like, it doesn't even have to be a good mixed review, because it's one of the funniest mixed reviews. There's one that came out on June 1st. It was late. It was by a website that gave Breath of the Wild a 3 out of 5 stars. And it has a funny byline in the Breath of the Wild review where it says, Breath of the Wild could have gone the direction of a smaller, more focused game. And it referenced like some like mystery solving indie game where it was like every menu in that game tells a grander story, but instead they chased the biggest AAA, trends possible. And like it's definitely like one of those like I didn't get what I wanted reviews of a game where like they were never going to do this. They were truly never going to go smaller for a Zelda sequel. Like, you can absolutely criticize, the menus, the content, like whatever, but their issue was just that it went bigger budget AAA open world. Yeah, and they didn't like it. And it was just a case of like what did you want? Because and I'm so sorry, but like anyone who's still saying like, oh well, they're not as good as the other 3D ones, fuck off, die. But like, because this just is better. They're real games. It's instead of like a museum tour through a bunch of assets. So this review was kind of talking about, and of course an outlet. It was Slant Magazine. That was the website. An outlet that didn't really like Breath of the Wild is probably not going to care that much about an iterative sequel to Tears of the Kingdom. It had a big the parts that the part I was referencing was it's like previous Zelda games were bold enough to have a different identity, and it's like not mechanically. They all played like a game from 1998. Like they changed the art style. I guess how fucking bold, right? Like,
hey, there's a new gimmick this time.
It's like, there's a new mode.
Hey, there's a time limit, or a boat, or a wolf,
I liked,
or
Matthew
a bird.
Matosa said like modes of transportation was like Zelda's big hat trick for like seeming like it was doing something different. Like having a new mode of transportation was always kind of their way of shaking up the formula, but it didn't. It's not actually shaking up the formula, especially like the boat. If anything, the boat makes the game less interactive. Which is really funny,
dude. The Great Sea sucks.
It's really funny.
I'm just gonna say it. It's actually not good. Like, it's just not good at all.
And the thing I'll say about Tears of the Kingdom,
there's no content. There's nothing here. It's nothing but blue nothing.
And the thing I'll say about Tears of the Kingdom with the sky in particular is like, yeah, the sky also doesn't have a lot of nothing. You still gotta fly through it, right? You still gotta fly through the sky, and especially if you're using like a ship. Like an actual ship with a steering wheel. You gotta control the vehicle. You gotta build it so that it fucking balances properly. Getting to the sky is legitimately one of the hardest things in the game. Like, just getting high enough to get to certain sky islands is difficult. Unless you use the Sheikah Tower, which, of course, is useful. But, like, then you still have to get to a sky island and then get around the sky islands.
And also, Myles, you're right, dude. The Sky Islands and Tears of the Kingdom, it's not a lot either. But also, there's the entire surface world in the depths too.
The map is like 2.5, maybe not 2.5, 2.3 times bigger than Breath of the Wild, maybe 2.2. But either way, like that's still a lot. That's still a lot of content. But yeah, like it's just really funny. Like a lot of the kinds of like 3 out of 5 elements. Of course they link there. Of course they got a dick suck Majora's Mask in the fucking review because I wasn't mad enough. But like then going down to the comments and either seeing people who are mad that it tanked the Metacritic score, me, or people who are just so happy to have their biases confirmed, like people who are like, oh, it's always the same song and dance. These paid-off critics are always saying the game is the greatest of all time, whereas we see how flawed it is. And it's like, oh, you have a difference of opinion, and most outlets didn't agree with you. I'm so fucking sorry. I'm so fucking sorry that this game care about or that you don't like is liked by people that aren't you. And I think I said this in context with Elden Ring. It is slightly maddening to dislike a game that everyone likes because it feels like the entire world is gaslighting you, but they're not. They're like it's just that for whatever reason the game does enough things to appeal to the core demographic and the gaming populace in general's sensibilities. Sometimes those games, like Mario Odyssey, is literally the highest rated game on OpenCritic. No one on this podcast, or who has been on this podcast besides Crit Points, likes Mario Odyssey. And that's okay. I'm not mad that Mario Odyssey is popular. I don't have a problem with it. But I'm sure that there's plenty of reviews, like whatever reviews are like 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10 for Mario Odyssey, where people are like, man, I can't fucking believe you'd ever do this to Mario. And then people are like, yeah, everyone's like, Mario's so overrated. Who fucking cares? But like one of the things that I noticed in this review, to get back to procedural generation, was also a reference to, and a lot of the comments too, everyone's like, yeah, all the caves are the same. And I flashed back to Elden Ring discourse, where Elden Ring's caves have recycled layouts. Or the room, specifically the rooms are stitched together using, sort of clearly procedurally generated things that they kind of, after the fact, set in stone.
Well, they're just using the catacombs have the catacomb walls.
I'm not talking about the theming. I'm talking about the layout. And they're clearly using the same algorithm that is used in the Chalice dungeons in Bloodborne, but they're using it as a level design tool, which is fucking smart. Like you've designed this technology, but there are four different layouts, and meanwhile, Tears of the Kingdom's caves, other than the caves in like the extreme regions of the world, they all have the same aesthetic, but all of them are unique layouts, and that is something that I was curious what your take on.
The caves I've went to,
what was that?
Were sorry,
you
Discord
froze.
fucked up, or Riverside fucked up. I just was gonna say, all the caves. I mean, I haven't gone to that many caves, albeit probably only like 4 or 5. But they were all very different.
All
they
of them
look the same,
are different, but they have the same aesthetic. And like that's the interesting thing is like, are you? Because I respect that Elden Ring has the zhuzh, the little like all right, well, we're not gonna put you in a cave this time. This time you're going to a catacomb, like. Just a little bit different, and even the heroes' graves, which are just catacombs, like it's nice to be in a remix of that, something different.
Which are just catacombs, but I want to kill myself.
Yeah. There's even worse, like the layout of those are just like even worse, like brutality wise, like
they're
some
evil.
of those are heinous.
Heroes' graves are evil.
Yeah,
they're evil,
and because it's Souls, like that is to be expected. Like I'm not an insult, I don't have a problem with it, but like. Whenever I have to go into a hero's grave, I actually want to stop playing the game. Like
dude, I just leave. I say, not worth it. Not worth it.
Because you know what? Unless I know
it.
the item at the end is going to be something I want, it's probably not. So I'm just getting the fuck out of there.
I can't. I don't understand. I don't understand the chariot guys. I don't get it, okay? I don't know how they work. Sometimes they just stop halfway through to catch me. Sometimes they keep going. Sometimes they turn. Sometimes they turn around.
But like, I'm actually curious. Would you rather see new layouts with the same theming, or a handful of the same like kinds of familiar sites, reused rooms, or that are stitched together with a moderate amount of different theming?
I think I am not. I mean, as a divine beast defender, I if it all looks the fucking same, I don't really give a shit. I mean, because here's the deal. One of my favorite games that uses procedural generation is Daggerfall. All the dungeons in Daggerfall are completely randomly generated. And you get some fucky shit, but you also get truly incomprehensible winding catacombs that feel like really fun to explore, because it's like I don't really know what to expect, and since everything is different, it's fun, and it kept me engaged for a really long time. Whereas when you go to areas and it's like the same thing like it's like the same relative layout like 6 or 7 times throughout a playthrough, that just kind of becomes less. It just becomes less interesting. And at least Elden Ring had the benefit of being a fucking big ass fucking game. So like the time between the Catacomb 1 and Catacomb 2 that looks the same or is very similarly designed to Catacomb 1, you'll play it like probably like 5 or 8 or 10 hours after the fact. So that helps it like that level of like in between.
Yeah, you'll go to a cave and then you'll go to a oh my god, what are the other ones? Oh, a tunnel, and then you'll go to another catacomb. Like, you know, so there's sites in between as well as the open world itself. But like, I think I'm genuinely like people who play games to see things. I think I'm officially past understanding them. Like, and it's especially a case of like when people talk about like the enemy variety in Tears of the Kingdom, where like there's like, I don't know, 30 enemies in that game, like, and they're all pretty intelligent. They're all like interesting to fight, and especially when you put them in a room with other enemies, like it could be pretty friggin' interesting. Especially the fact that a lot of them have different, like when you're fighting a Horriblin, like your best friend is recall, whereas like when you're fighting a fucking, you know, Moblin or whatever, like your best friend might be just regular old fusions. But a lot of people are like, yeah, you know, there's just not enough enemies in this game. And like, I would agree. I would have loved to see more enemies, because who doesn't want to see more enemies? But like, it's still got more enemy variety than like a Ubisoft game, which will have one enemy in total. Like,
yeah, like, because let's see, Watch Dogs has guy with shotgun,
heavily armored guy, yeah,
who's like bigger, yeah, heavily armored guy, and like that's it, and like police cars.
Yeah, and like
vehicles?
Obviously GTA, you know, you got the cops, like those are usually the typical enemy. Like, I think that people just don't, especially Zelda fans, derogatory, just don't realize, I don't think they understand open world games. Like, they've been fucking clamoring for an open world game for years, but they've been clamoring for the idea of an open world game. They wanted Ocarina of Time in a fucking field. And
oh man, dude, you triggered something.
I'm so excited,
Sam
dude.
King
I'm so excited.
Landmine, Myles.
Lay it on me.
I'm triggered. I'm fucking triggered, dude. I been saying this shit. I was talking to a good buddy of mine yesterday on the phone. We were talking about the all the showcases that happened this week, Summer Game Fest and Xbox and stuff like that, and the Sony showcase from like 2 weeks ago. And I was telling him, I'm like, dude, when I go online, I see people be like, "Oh yeah, South of Midnight, yeah, that was awesome." I'm like, bro, that was not a game trailer. That was, you're excited about an idea. Like, I hate that shit. I'm like, no, show me the fucking game. Like, I care about the game. I don't care about the fucking idea or the fantasy of it. I feel like sometimes online, more people like the idea of playing games than actually fucking playing them. And I feel like this open world shit's is the exact thing. Is like, it's not like what you want is not either A, necessarily what you're gonna get, or B, if you were to get that, the level of sacrifice is necessary on every other factor would be like, this was my thing with like the Pokemon, like fucking like Pokemon Legends Arceus. Like Pokemon Legends Arceus puts Pokemon in an open world and lets you like catch them in real time at the sacrifice of fucking graphics and fucking real main story content beyond catching the like, that's the only thing you do in the game is catch Pokemon and go from waypoint to waypoint. Like, that's it. Like, battling, not really a meaningful part of the game. The stealth is a joke. Boss battles are a joke. Like, it's the same mechanics, like just throwing the ball, like. And it's like, yeah, you happy? You fucking happy? And apparently fucking people were, because the game fucking
no, they weren't happy. It's just that Pokemon always sells 12 million units. It's like, the game, it can be the worst Pokemon game in the fucking franchise, it'll still outsell everything else.
As long as it's on Switch. As long as it's on fucking Switch, man. Who knows when they jump over to fucking Switch 2 or whatever, if they ever decide to release
my hope is that they honestly just release an iteration of the Switch. I'm going to be perfectly honest, because I can keep my dock. My dock still works. And literally like fucking Samsung phones can run Yuzu. Like at this point, like the Switch just needs a more powerful processor.
Yeah, it's just like my thing with like because Nintendo has said multiple times that they're like nervous about releasing a follow-up to the Switch. In my opinion, I'm like, yeah, if I was fucking the leader at Nintendo, I'd be scared shitless too. I'd be like, can we not? Can we maybe see about not doing that? Because as much as we gamers opine about like just everything now that's not Nintendo first party looking like utter dog shit on Switch because games are coming out on the PS5.
They have to literally create a port for
apparently
it.
Mortal Kombat 1 is coming to the Switch. What's going on?
And you
like,
know
that's
what?
crazy.
The assets are already developed for the I would say next gen, but you know, the more powerful console versions. So all you got to do is just create a custom port, which is not the easiest thing in the world, but it's not the hardest thing in the world either.
No,
and it'll sell well because it has a huge install base.
Exactly, and that's the thing. And it's like, if you're Nintendo, do you really want to fucking like put your number 2 greatest install base of all time in the entire history of the industry? You're gonna just like casually give that up for another system? Because let's be clear here, people's expectations for a Switch 2 on like a power, like, it's not going to be fucking 4K. It doesn't fucking make sense for it to be fucking 4K if you're going to be playing it in handheld, because a 7.2 inch, you know, it's 7.2 inches, or no, it's 8 inches for the OLED, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's 7.2 for the base model. For 8 inches for the OLED, if you're holding it a normal size away from your fucking face, fucking 720p basically looks on the same as fucking 4K on a screen of that size from that viewing distance. Granted, when you get to a TV like I have that is a 4K display TV and it is it's 42 inches. Yeah, 720p games look like shit.
Yeah, I think
they look like blurry
I literally think the best
now.
thing that they could do for a Switch 2 is just make it so that it fits into a Switch 1 dock, but it's just a more powerful brick. Like,
yeah, or have like the dock maybe actually have the dock do real 4K upscaling of some kind. And
yeah,
like
here's
have
the thing:
more tech
if you could literally if you could buy the new Switch and just use your old dock, but it's 1080p, but it's more powerful on the back end, and you know, games that were at 30 can play at 60, you know, assuming that they were even capable of doing that, like that'd be nice. And or you could buy the dock version.
Yeah, I'd like shit to be 60 on the new system.
And you could buy the new dock, which upscales to 2K, you know, and it doesn't even, and by the way,
yeah,
4K,
I mean, that'd be great.
I'm sorry, 4K is a fucking luxury. You know,
and also, totally. I have a fucking dude. I had to come. This is something I had to come to terms with because that like if you want to do like 4K 60 gaming, which is like my new priority since my gaming monitor, my 27-inch 144 hertz is now vertical. My target ideally would be 4K 60 for games, and I can do that for all the 8th gen stuff, the 7th gen stuff, no problem on PC. But all the new stuff, I basically I'm Street Fighter 6. I'm playing in 1080p, and it's because so I can maintain a solid frame rate, and even sometimes in World Tour mode it dips for me. And I just understand that like if I want to play games in 4K 60, I got to build a new computer. Like I got to get a 4090. And I got to get a better processor because 4K is just crazy to output, especially if you're not using DLSS or you're unable to use DLSS or FSR.
Yeah, and on consoles,
AI upscaling
like that, on consoles, like that is such a huge sacrificial target to achieve because you can't just throw a 390 into a PS5. You can't just like,
yeah, because that's the thing. Because in my professional opinion. If we look at the overall landscape of video games and all consoles to ever be released, there's never been a console that has gone for over $499 MSRP and been like a huge success. Like, you know, like, because the PS3 ended up as a huge success, but it wasn't until it dropped to like $300 and they released the Slim and a couple years went by. You know, that the fat $600 PS3, yeah, that wasn't going anywhere. The fucking 3DO being $800 when that came out, that wasn't fucking going anywhere. Fuck yet, of course, our beloved Neo Geo, $1,000, not going anywhere. Actually, I think it was $1,600, but you get it. You know, like, I just feel like, for better or worse, the general consumer who wants to buy gaming consoles will just... 500's the absolute fucking max they'll spend, and I think for a handheld, they won't.
No, I think the highest they'll go for a handheld is 200. Wow. Okay.
It's 400. Well, the Switch
but I think the Switch also
had
had the pedigree of also being a next-gen console to an extent. I think that was how they got away with it, so to speak.
Well, it wasn't really a next-gen console. It was in the middle of the PS4,
I said the pedigree of.
So it was a mid-gen.
It's the next generation of Nintendo consoles, even though power-wise, it's actually weaker than the Wii U.
Yeah. Well, and also, too, here's the thing with the Switch. The Switch is really interesting and deserves a lot of credit and respect, but we also got to understand that there were a lot of dominoes put in place to make this shit succeed. Like the fact that one of the reasons why the Switch is considered to have such a great exclusives library is because many of those games are Wii U games that were ported over, or they're games like, I know you don't like it, but Splatoon 2 or Smash, better example being Smash Ultimate, or Mario Kart Deluxe.
I'm not dense enough to say Splatoon 2, you know, why would you bring that up?
Well, specifically Splatoon 2 and Smash Brothers Ultimate are games that clearly are different games and sequels from Splatoon and Smash 4, but Splatoon 2.
Well, they had some headway.
Jury's out, not as good.
They had some headway
Splatoon
into
3,
development, though, is the thing.
Exactly. Like, or specifically Ultimate had 4 to jump off as a base, and is just significantly better than 4. And nobody owned a Wii U, so Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was a fucking new Mario Kart game. You know? Like, Breath of the Wild was a fucking reason to get a Nintendo system, because you didn't own a fucking Wii U, so I get one now, because here's the Switch. And fucking Nintendo fans like me who did own a Wii U, or you,
we just bit the bullet. Yeah, we bit the bullet, and we said, okay, this is where they're going.
Because Nintendo fans are whipped little boys.
We are actually in a basement, naked, like, for Nintendo, chained to a pipe. That's what, but a green pipe with a piranha plant coming out of it. Yeah.
Green pipe, Mario War pipe.
That's where we are in life, and it is just a very, like, I understand, like, I see a lot of, like, people commenting under, like, Tears of the Kingdom, like, you know, because I'm keeping an eye out on the element, or the emulation. Sorry, I had an aneurysm for a second. I'm keeping an eye out on the emulation development. It's not where I want it to be yet, so I'm not going to move my playthrough over to Yuzu or Ryujinx. You know, I want the best possible experience. I don't want a crappy whatever experience. So of course I'm going to play it on Old Reliable here, which is able to run it at, you know, it doesn't run great, but I know it's going to run it all. And I know that I'm not literally, like, prematurely jumping the gun and playing a worse version of what could be a better version of the game, which is what the emulated version will be, in however many months to years. But I always see, like, a lot of people who are like, yeah, why can't Nintendo just build something as powerful as this? And it's like, because it's, every time they've done that, it's been a failure.
Do you want the console to be $800? You don't. You're not going to buy it.
Nintendo has literally had an entire 20-year trial run of seeing that, our core install base doesn't give a shit about power. They just don't care. Now, the people who do care, who are us, might be part of the core install base, but we're not the only ones.
We're not. In fact, we're the hyper fucking minority. And this is the funny thing about gaming industry discussions and podcasts and, like, console war culture and stuff online, is that, like, all this stuff only represents, like, maybe 2 to 5% of the total base of human beings that actually play video games and spend their money in this industry. You know, like, 100 of the 130 million people that own a Nintendo Switch, you know, maybe like 20 or 30 million of them are like locked in fuckers, you know, and that's maybe being generous. Like, that's why, like, you see people talk online are like, oh, you know, this showcase or whatever. Oh, you know, Sony showcase really sucked. Oh, this is going to be a real problem. This is going to be a real blow. It's like, no, it's not. Like, the PS5 is going to continue to sell gangbusters as it has been. It doesn't matter how good of a show Xbox had. I thought it was great.
I should mention, I actually didn't watch any of the show. I really should have, but I was a little focused on games. So I'll go back through and we can have a discussion about it. Like, I don't know, later, but.
I gotta say, fucking Bethesda,
did a good
Todd.
Job? Oh wow,
50 minutes of fucking Starfield.
That's
shit.
the Breath of the Wild.
And they showed
it's like, you know what, we have a hot game. We don't have a lot to show, but we know this game is going to carry. So we'll just go out. We'll just give the people all they need.
Yeah,
and I actually love when companies do that, because it's like a game like Breath of the Wild. Yeah, it is that deep. It's deep enough. Like an RPG, you know, like a Bethesda size and scale RPG like Starfield, more than enough. More than enough to show people
definitely
good amount of the game, good amount of time, good amount of the features, and give them, and they'll still have plenty left. And it's one of the funny things about, like, yeah, like I remember there was like the trailer for Judas at like the Game Awards, and like I know that I'm guilty of this with like Death Stranding and DS2, and even DS1, frankly. But like it is just very funny where you can get away with just showing a trailer and being like, yeah, this guy's attached to it. It's from this studio. And like people are going to be like, yeah, man, that's going to be a real fucking game. And you know, but here's the thing. You know what? Yeah. Ken Levine is making another first person shooter in you know, a sci-fi city. I like BioShock.
With
I like
like
BioShock.
magical powers.
I trust that. Like, yeah, like I don't actually like BioShock. I'm impersonating someone who likes BioShock. It was a very good impersonation, don't you think? Like as opposed to like what was it? Threat Level Midnight. What did you call it? What was that game that you said?
The fucking Michael Scott movie.
That you said something way out of Midnight. Midnight in the Switchgrass? Yeah, South of Midnight.
South of Midnight. It's from Compulsion, the guys that made that game Contrast.
Yeah,
which was a PS4
I mean, I know that
title.
Super Bunny Hop liked it, but like no one else liked it. And it's just a really funny thing of like people are like, yeah, no, the concept looks really good. Like even if I'm here, you know, out here being like, man, DS2 is going to be fucking amazing. It could be the worst sequel that Kojima's ever made. It could be one of the least innovative sequels he's ever done. But Myles,
but Death Stranding is a game that exists in our world.
Exactly.
You've played it, so if there's a sequel and you see a trailer for it, you're like, oh, okay. Oh, okay, cool.
I'm interested in the potential of what a sequel to a game that I already know and have played is. Like, okay, Judas. I've played BioShock. I understand Ken Levine's writing. I am interested in seeing what he does next with a similar premise. Whereas, like, Threat Level, yeah.
And they did show the game.
A bit of it.
Yeah, they did what I've dubbed it. I've dubbed it the gameplay sizzle reel trailer where we cut around a lot. Like, did you see Pragmata's new trailer
told me fucking nothing, but also just enough.
That's a gameplay sizzle reel trailer, and to me, that's the minimum. That's like the level of acceptability for me. In-engine footage, not it for me. That's on the level of CGI trailer.
Yeah, like for me, like I was like, okay, it's a fast-paced action game and there's a dodge button. All right, cool. That's something. Yeah,
Returnal
that's
X dancing.
Something to go with. Like, because being the ever-optimistic idiot that I am, I saw him use like a big net and be in a spacesuit, and I was thinking, oh, this could be like a Strand type game. Like where I was just like, it could be like an open world or an open map game about using traversal tools, because that's the only kinds of games I ever want anymore.
Dude, dude, so believe it or fucking not, dude, Don't Nod, which is the guys who made fucking Life is Strange, which I should probably play because I'll either love it or hate it in equal portion.
And you've been talking, by the way, about your Life is Strange playthrough, like hypothetically, for years, like 7 or 8 years now, actually. Because it is, dude, you are the target demographic of like good or bad. You'll have nothing but things to say about it.
Say. So they announced a game at the Game Awards, but then at the Xbox Showcase, they announced this other game called Jusant. I think it's a French word. and it's a fucking like rock climbing game, and it looks fucking sick, dude. It's like the Breath of the Wild, like sheer cliffs, but there's like actual like mechanics of you have limited amount of
what
like,
I want.
rock climbing chips, and you like are attached to a rope, and you're like doing it for real. But it's like made an abyss where it's like it's on the wall, like there's like a city or like a town, and it's like in the cliff. It's like in or on the wall. And I'm like, bro, this is awesome. That's
so my game of the show. I haven't even seen it. It's my game of the show.
Dude, I was like, bro, this is hitting. I cannot believe this is the same studio.
I gotta respect it. And like,
I mean, they made Remember Me. They did make action games.
I know Remember Me
so they made
was
Remember
not
Me,
liked.
so.
I think it was like famously kind of a disaster. But like, I mean, it's just cool that they're doing something so like movement intensive. Because like I love solving problems, Sam. I think that's my favorite thing to do in a video game is be given a problem, and they're just like, yeah, here, what do you see out of this? Like, I was thinking about this with Catherine, like how Catherine's my favorite puzzle game, where like they put you in front of a jagged ass wall, and they just ask you like the fucking bisexual lady who does the math in the meme, where she's like thinking about all the math problems. Like, they actually ask you to like see a staircase out of a bunch of blocks. Like when you I was thinking about this with in Tears of the Kingdom. Like, at some point in the game, after a certain amount of time, after you get a certain amount of like auto builds, or you've built enough things, you'll see like a sheer cliff, just like a regular ass cliff, and you'll just see the build that you need to put there in your mind. And like, that's one of my favorite things in games, is like when your eyes just like transform and you just see a world in a way where like the problems place themselves in your brain. Like, the feedback that you get, the visual stimuli that you get already has the solution moving based on the information that you're being fed. And this happens in every good game. Like every good game does this, but like I especially really like when it's a traversal challenge where I see a world in front of me, and you can think about it like a street, right? You see a fucking roundabout, you know which direction you're going in, right? Like, you're conditioned to view the world a certain way and to view certain problems with a specific solution. Now, in GTA, in theory, you see a roundabout, you could plow right through it, right? Because you could drive, because you've been conditioned to see this world as a sandbox where anything you want can be done. But you suddenly put...
Yeah. It's like how when I played LA Noir when I was like 14, I followed and like the traffic signals. Like, I didn't have to. I just felt
you get immersed in it.
Yeah.
But to be fair, you also do, like, there is the slightest incentive. I was just about to bring up LA Noir. You put a couple of restrictions and some diegetic, you know, like, all right, well, your car's getting dinged up and you're getting berated, like.
Yeah, if you like bust up a mailbox or take down a light pole during like a chase or just during your drive during a mission, you get docked points. At the end of like your sort of score at the end of the case. LA Noir is a stylish action game.
No, LA Noir actually does have. I would love it if you like finished like an LA Noir segment. You got your really somber little like, you know, follow up of like, man, I guess this town really is rotten to the core, you know, the like the brass music, and then all of a sudden there's a freeze frame, like bullets appear on the screen, it cracks and it shows you your results screen. Yeah,
like a Tommy gun. Tommy guns an A.
Like A, and then like there's like the Devil May Cry like rock music like over it, like, or like a Shadow the Hedgehog style like butt rock track. And it shows your like results. Like, I'm also just picturing like what I call like the stamp scorecard, where it's like time S, you know, damage taken B, you know, whatever, and it like stamps lower and lower until you get your final score, right? And I'm just picturing like a little like Tommy gun shooting all the letters down or whatever, and just like just this complete juxtaposition.
It's very, very Chicago 1929.
I'm just picturing like the complete juxtaposition of like the somber cop drama and then like the action screen. Yeah, the Devil May Cry like the 5 like screen shatter with the glass. Like, that's just what I'm imagining.
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome. But yeah, I mean that's more or less that's all I got for this week. Unless Myles. Any last words you wanted to leave the people with, or any last things
please
you get off
crowdfund our Disney cruise episode.
Hightail it out of here.
Please crowdfund the Disney cruise episode.
Yeah, please. Yeah. Last season, we managed to raise over $12,000 to visit all the Great Wolf Lodges, and you can clearly see all the content we made in the Discord. Link in the description. Go join the Discord. Say hello. Tell us what's up. Post good music. Give us your hot gaming takes.
We could always use, especially me, I could always use more music. I don't listen to anything, so I need the Discord to keep me educated.
Yeah, me too.
By the way,
all I listen is drum and bass.
User server Julian, cousin of his, actually released a debut album. It's really fucking good. So make sure ask him to link that album. It's on Spotify. I forgot the name of it because it's in Spanish, but check it out. Yeah, and
awesome.
Please crowd
Right.
the cruise episode.
Crowdfund episode.